Okay, this is Dr. Williamson, and I said I was going to show you guys or create a little video on how to um, graph something with Microsoft Excel. And here I am using the data that I gave you guys that's to be graphed. And I'm going to do this data here because it's the same mechanics as this data here, but it's a whole lot less data entry. So I'm going to do this part first. So I'm going to go right about here, and I'm going to type in concentration of FeCN3 minus in molarity units. And I can make this column wider by doing that. Then over here, I'm going to go absorption in arbitrary units and make this column wider. And then I'm going to center everything and bold that. This data goes from 0 to 1 in 0.1 units. So I'm going to go 0, 0 0.1, 0 0.2, 0 0.3, 0 0.4, 0 0.5, 0 0.6, 0 0.7, right? 0 0.8, 0 0.9, and 1. Notice this data over here goes to 2 decimal places. So that means I want this data here to go to 2 decimal places. If I go up to here, this decreases the number of decimal places. I want to increase the number of decimal places, and that's what that did. This is 0, 0 0.057. Oops, messing that all up. 0 0.057, 0 0.228, 0 0.252, 0 0.411, 0 0.451. Make sure that corresponds to the right spot. 0 0.601, 0 0.617, 0 0.829, 0 0.802, and 0 0.965. And this one right here needs to go to 2 decimal places because the original data goes to 2 decimal places. So I'm going to increase it. Ooh, that's too many. Let me decrease it to 2 decimal places because this went to 2 decimal places, even though everywhere else went to 3. Okay. So I got the data entry done. I'm now going to go here and I am going to insert a graph. So what I did is I went here to insert chart, and I'm going to insert a scatter chart. Let me move this up here now. Okay. I click here. And this is the title. I want to change that title. And this title happens to be this kind of graph. Absorption versus concentration is a Beer's law plot for FeCN3 minus. I don't care if you don't get the subscripts and superscripts perfect for right now. I now have to add axes labels. So let me click here. Axes titles. me do this axis title. The y-axis is the absorption. And it has arbitrary units. The x-axis, whoa, Control Z. Didn't mean to do that. X-axis is concentration of FeCN3 minus in molarity units. Right? Let me make this a little bit bigger for me to see it clearly. This is wasted space up here because this goes to 1.2 when it doesn't need to, and this goes to 1.2 when it doesn't need to. So I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to make it go from 0 to 1 to change that margin. I'm going to double click on this, make it go from 0 to 1 to change that axis scale, not the margin. Okay, so I've got that. These numbers and these words are too small to read, so let's go home. Let's change the font size to say maybe 14. Change the font size here to say 14. Okay. Change the font size of this. Since this is the title, we'll make it a little bit bigger. Change that to maybe 16. These numbers are too small to read. Home. Maybe make those 12. And make those 12. Now for straight lines, we want a best fit line for straight lines. We can do a best fit line by clicking on one of the data points, then right-clicking on it, scrolling down to add trend line. We want to do a linear trend line, and we want it to display the equation on the chart. And then we can move the equation a little bit if we need to. Right? Maybe make it a little bit easier to read. All right. So far, so good. I'm now going to click this, going to copy the entire equation, go to Microsoft Word. This is how I do it. You don't have to do it this way if you know a better way. Go to Layout, Orientation is Landscape. View, I'm going to make it 75% so I can see. I'm going to change the margins to 1/2-inch margins. Then I'm going to paste that diagram. And then I'm going to adjust this picture so that it fits and looks neat on the entire page. And then I would save that, and that is what I would print or include with my lab. I would also maybe handwrite. See, this is pretty small, so I'm gonna that larger. And then I'm actually going to have somewhere on here text box. Well, I don't know if I could do that. Okay, so let's get rid of that. But I want to have the words. Let's go to view 100%. So the slope is 0.9571. So I want to have the words slope equals 0.957, arbitrary over molarity, or something along those lines. Okay. And that's how you would do that for this. Later, I'll show you how to do this. Okay. But I can't do that now. All right.